Welcome to the Sunday Soul Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lisa Brewer. Today's guest is Janine Bolon. Janine Bolon has always loved figuring out how things work. A scientist from the beginning, she craved to dig into the mysteries of life and understand why things are the way they are. After working in the pharmaceutical industry for 15 years, she dropped out of corporate America to homeschool her 4 children. She has always had a side business in her life and shares with other business owners and creatives how to manage a well-lived life of children, family, friends, and clients while not suffering from burnout. Her 12 books, 87 online courses, 4 podcast programs, and syndicated radio show all express her desire to share her systems and routines with others. Welcome, Janine, to the podcast. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Sunday Soul Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lisa Brewer, and I have another new friend of mine, Janine Bolon, with us today. And I am super excited about what we're going to talk about today. Like super, super, super. So, Janine, can you introduce yourself to the audience and give us just a little bit of a background about yourself?
Okay, I'll be happy to do that. One of the things, though, is how Lisa and I were drawn to each other is really the most important thing. And that was we connected at a level so quick and so fast that we were literally saying, okay, we have probably 15 different episodes we could create with our knowledge base together. So what do we want to focus on? Okay. And so we're going to go with what we call the root chakra today. And we're going to talk mainly about money because that's a taboo topic. As I tell people, it's like sex and money. That's first chakra kind of stuff. And I said, I can help you with your money. And everybody usually laughs at that point. And I said, now, as far as your sex, you're going to have to go to a different therapist for that. Maybe that's Dr. Lisa you need to talk to. That's definitely not me. And so one of the things that was funny about that is then I had this guy park up from the back and go, but it's amazing when you get your money straight, how it really affects the other. And the whole room lost it. And we're just laughing and laughing. And so don't take this episode seriously. The topic of money manages to put us into an emotional state that's very serious. But the way that Dr. Lisa and I connected was we're definitely spirit sisters. We definitely came onto this planet with a purpose. We both are open-hearted people. We just want to give. But you know what? Children, our animals, our pets, they still want food with their meals. So you'll forgive us if we do plug our businesses because that's the way we pay the mortgage. That's the way we pay the rent. That's the way we get ready to put food on the table. So I don't necessarily want you to buy my stuff. Today, we're going to be talking about ways you can totally get into a lot of my programs and opportunities for free. All right. But at some point, you will have me talk about where I do need a little bit of finances as you get closer and closer to me coaching you through your financial situation. And I am insanely reasonably priced. Why? Because I do this because I want to, not because I have to. And that's where we want you to go today is we want you to be able to live a life of abundance, not feeling that scarcity. And where you are right now, that's not maybe where you are. And so let's see what we can do to help you out. Is that a good enough introduction, Dr. Lisa, or do I need to go deep?
We're going to go deep, but I think that that's absolutely fabulous because we are speaking to a number of people across a broad spectrum. So some of us, are in this kind of scarcity. And let me tell you something, scarcity does not only mean physical scarcity, right? You could have this we talk about this spirit of poverty, right? It is an actual mindset. I prefer to call it mindset of scarcity because of how we grew up. And some of us actually don't realize that we're in a flow of abundance because we continue to have this spirit, this mindset of scarcity. So we want to talk about identifying that too as well, I think, because there's a number of us like myself, I'm sure like you, right? We were working. Right. And then we started on this path and realized this is our purpose. We've got to live our purpose and flowing in that abundance and purpose.
So my journey started in 1996. That is when I
Mm.
dropped out of the workforce and I went online with a business. Now, please realize we did not have Bluetooth yet, and we did not have we didn't have Wi-Fi. I had to hardwire everything into my monitor. And the other fun thing about that period of time is, like I said, no YouTube, no Bluetooth, no Wi-Fi. So this is where we were. Facebook was something that college kids were doing, and it was seen as a young person's platform. It
Mhm.
was not something that you wanted to even get near. And so I got on Facebook and started hosting groups at that time. They weren't called groups. I won't bother you with the ancient history of this, but that's how long I've been doing this kind of gig. And I want you to be able to get to that place too. And let's talk about mindset real fast. And let's just talk about the fact that, are you frugal? And are you frugal with a scarcity mentality, or are you frugal because you want to save money so that you can go have that trip to Australia? Okay.
Mm.
Why are you being frugal? Is it because you think you have to be, or what? Because I want to remind you just one little thing. And I live in I don't live in Denver, but I'm in Colorado. And guess what? We have money that's made every day. We have the Denver Mint out here. Okay. That's where 90% of your coinage comes from. Some people are like, well, that's just coins. I'm like, yeah, but the US Treasury Department prints money every day. More money is printed every day. There is an abundance. And let me tell you something, when you wander down to the Denver Mint, or you happen to go to the printing presses, you see these huge sheets of money coming off the presses. And I'm like, put yourself in that mindset. And let me tell you something, the universe knows your need. Now, are you going to stop resisting, and are you going to start allowing some of that money to come to you? Because guess what? You deserve it. You're worth it. And it's not based on your effort. And that is something that I had to learn, because I was the early bird catches the worm. And my family was Irish Catholic, and we were Midwest, and we were farmers and agrarians. And there was just a whole bucket load of stuff and emotional baggage we will not unpack in this episode, but definitely know it took me a few years to get out of that mindset.
Wow. That is so tremendous. And, we have a lot of things in common, not that my family was agrarian, but, I came from middle class, blue collar upbringing in the Midwest. And, my father used to tell us we had to work twice as hard to get half as much. Now, that's primarily because of, the racial disparities. However, that was the mindset that I had to work, go to college, work. Like that was it, right? This was your lot in life, and this was the only way to do it. And people that were entrepreneurs and business owners, well, those were the dreamers. And be careful about going after your dream, because you might end up poor. So this is the mindset that we grew up in, and our parents, God bless them, did the best they could with what they knew. And it's changing that programming. How did you get from, and I remember 1996, I'm dating myself a little bit, and I do remember being on Facebook was not a thing, not if you were an adult.
That was only for the young kids. That was like TikTok is for a lot of people when it first came out,
It really was.
Yeah.
So what was that journey like? Like when you stepped out of the workforce and stepped into, this is my purpose, this is what I wish to do, I am an entrepreneur. Talk to us about those beginnings a little bit and how your mindset had to change.
Okay. I would be happy to share that with your people, but I want to come back to something that you said, Dr. Lisa, that I think is super important. And
Sure.
that is the racial disparity. Okay, so I'm Irish Catholic, and as you can tell, a lot of people call me cracker because I'm neon white in the dark, right? So I light up. I light up. Put a light on me, you can spot me a mile away, and deer in the headlights, right? So let's talk about racial disparity. One of those things that I was taught was that I would have to work twice as hard for half as much because I was a woman in the Midwest and I was in a male-dominated area because I was
Wow.
an analytical biochemist. So I had the double whammy, like some people feel they have. You
Yes.
can use race, you can use sex, you can use what your industry standard is. And I just wanted to point out, do you want to use that as an excuse the rest of your life? Because there isn't a flipping thing you can do about that. I mean, yeah, I could become a trans man if I wanted. However, I don't lean that way. I mean, so you can change your sex and you can change your race if you want to go through the bleaching process, if you have melanin that's like on hyperdrive, or like me, start staining the crap out of my skin with tanning solutions. I mean, you can go through Herculean efforts if you want to change those things. However, it's how you identify. And so, number one, I'm proud of the fact that I am a woman, and I am proud of the fact that my family did the best they could. But trust me, the mindset is what we're trying to release here in 2020.
Yes.
And so you hit on that, and I just wanted to, forgive me, I wanted to circle back around to that, because that is where the abundance comes from. When you decide to let go of that emotional baggage, which is all it is, to sit there and say that you are not as deserving of money, or that you're going to have to work twice as hard for it, really takes the power out of the reins of the divine. And now you are shunting money away from you because you're not in harmony with the frequency or the vibration that the divine is trying to send it to you. You're not seeing those opportunities because you're like, oh, they're not talking to me because I'm Black. Or in my case, oh, I know they're not talking to me because I'm a woman. So you wanted to ask me about that process. And we take the information that comes to us from other people and we integrate it as truth. And there is nothing that is more hokey and stupid than when I do that. Okay. I'm not calling anybody else stupid. It's just, there were times where when I left the workforce, one of the pivotal moments is when I'm sitting there with my infant and a pediatrician is describing to me hygienic procedures that I need to take with this child. And he has no idea that I used to work in a class 3 biological containment unit. And let me tell you something, I knew about hygiene because I was working with radioactive crap. Right. And he's sitting there talking to a highly educated, highly trained woman, but he is treating me as if I am barely able to function. And that stuck home. So I know anyone listening to this has had similar experiences, horrific experiences. In my case, it's because I was a woman. I was seen as a housekeeper. I was seen as a homemaker. Obviously, I was not trained in anything else, able to do anything else, even though I was running a $500,000 corporation. Doesn't matter. I was labeled as a homemaker on the form. Therefore, I was treated accordingly. All right, there we go. The same thing happens to people that are, however you want to call it, if you want to use race, whatever it is, you can use those excuses. You can put up with, a lot of us have to keep our mouths shut when people do that. And it's very hard not to take it personally when you're standing there in a room with a nurse and a doctor and other attendants, and they're all staring at you like, you need to learn this because your child is going to need to be taken care of and cleaned, right? And so I'm speaking to everybody in there. We've all had this. There isn't a human being on this planet that hasn't had a degrading experience where they were talked down to. And the challenge is, are we going to continue to believe that? Or are we going to look at that person and have pity? I am so sorry, my sweet little pediatrician, that you are looking at a form and you're making a world of assumptions that are incorrect. But I am standing here as a woman in power of herself. And the only reason I'm allowing you to touch my child is because of the training you have gone through. And I will respect that, but I'm not going to believe a word that comes out of your mouth with anything else other than the care that my child needs.
That is so empowering. So yes, let's stay here, because this is something I say to women, to African American men and women. This is how I raised my children, is that I am what a lot of people would say an anomaly. And what I say is I am the empowered divine goddess that decided to sit on her throne. I am a woman that attended Northwestern University, studied biochemistry. I got pregnant. I didn't finish, right? Doesn't mean that my brain doesn't still work that very well. I just didn't finish. And so all of a sudden I'm falling into, at 20 years old, all of these stereotypes of what a young Black mother was supposed to be. And on top of that, all the stereotypes that unfortunately were put upon me from childhood. And then I'm in these stereotypes of how I'm supposed to act and what my lot in life was supposed to be. Fast forward to being a single mother of 3. I've broken all of those. Why? Because I refused to live according to those stereotypes. I refused to live according to what society told me I had to be, to the point now where I've created 2 6-figure heart-centered businesses in the last 18 months. So you can change. We talk about this a lot on this channel. Change your reality. You decide what your reality will be. If you put that energy, your energy at that, you said it so eloquently, at the right vibrational frequency of the outcome of the 3rd dimensional realm you wish to reside in. We don't take our own autonomy back. We don't take our own agency. And that's so critical. It's so critical in the midst of all of everything. I get criticized all the time because I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough, I'm not supposed to be this, I'm not supposed to be that. I am exactly who I'm supposed to be. You're exactly who you're supposed to be. And everyone listening to this and watching it is that you can achieve and be the person you are already. You just have to believe it. I don't know how you feel about that one, but I don't know. Sorry, I got on my soapbox.
That's quite all right. May I join you, my dear?
Yes,
because
please.
I'll be glad to step up to that soapbox. So the thing is, we are told frequently, and this is true of men or women. Women say this a lot. I hear women saying this a lot, but it happens to men. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care what sex you are. I don't care what race you are. Everybody's had this.
Mm-hmm.
You're too loud. You're too proud. You're too quiet. You're too intense. You're too passionate. You're not this. It's like we get a lot of that. So the thing is when you say, okay, you create your own reality, realize there's a momentum. Mm-hmm. It's going to take a little bit of fine tuning. You can't be driving a car at 60 miles an hour and take a 90-degree turn without there being repercussions. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying there are repercussions if you do. Okay. Right. So slow it down. And January, we're having this conversation in January. So wherever it drops, whenever you hear it, doesn't matter, but take time and go on a mental retreat. A lot of you I know just can't leave everything and go, as lovely as that sounds. Mm-hmm. But take a couple of hours where you can sit down with yourself and decide, okay, what is the rest of my year going to look like? And I know a lot of people have talked a lot about vision boards. They work. I'm sorry, but you have to use them to your own personal benefit. How does a vision board work? Well, I just go to the grocery store and I grab a piece of poster board. I cut it in half because I keep mine fairly small because I don't want my kids messing with it. I don't want people messing with it. And it needs to be able to fit on this particular space on the back of my door. Okay, so there you go. Very practical person here. So you take that vision board and you print off a bunch of pictures. You put on it with your glue stick. I know your kids have a couple floating around, just tape, whatever you can. Put your pictures on there. Don't worry about it being fancy. And the big thing is every day you look at it for just 9 seconds. And I've trained myself to stare at my vision board 4 or 5 times a day because I put it in an area of my house where I pass by that particular wall and I always stop. I've made it a habit. It's a habit. Now, how did I get that habit? Well, this is going to make you laugh, but I would put somebody's toy, a particularly obnoxious toy that I did not like, a toy that was not my happy place. I put it in the center of that room. I put it on the floor in that space. And it would remind me, oh, go to that spot, Janine, and look at your vision board. And then it would put me in a happy place. Now, did I have the perfect plan on how I was going to get where I was going to go? I had no clue. Yeah. But I did know that I wanted a very specific type of life for myself and my children. Yes. And so a lot of people say I'm lucky. A lot of people say, well, I already had a lot going for me, blah, blah, blah. And you and I both know how hard we work for that luck. And the hard work is dropping our baggage. Yes. It's not that we have to work hard. I mean, we can sit back and stuff will happen for us if we will give ourselves permission to let the good times roll. And there is a momentum when you first start doing this. It's going to take you some practice. And what does that look like? Every time you get on a phone, every time you get on a Zoom call, anytime you're getting ready to have a conversation with somebody, this is the habit that will change reality. It will change life around you. And that is, you think the most positive thoughts you can about the conversation you're about ready to have. So I have an alarm that's on my phone. Thank God for that. I used to have a kitchen timer that drove me nuts, but now we have phones that have an alarm. And so every time I get ready for a Zoom meeting or whatever, I always say a little prayer, a little intention, however you want to talk about that. But I always ask the divine. I said, Dr. Lisa, I want to talk to your highest self. And Janine, we're going to talk to your highest self and the community that's listening to the words that's going to be coming out of your mouths. And I want to know what is in the highest and best good for all people involved. That is my ultimate purpose in this moment. And then I wait for Dr. Lisa to let me into her Zoom room and we rock and roll. And I do that with pretty much every conversation I'm about ready to have. And it's really easy now because most of my conversations are on Zoom. And so it's like, it makes it easy. I'm in the green room all the time. I'm waiting for someone to let me in the room. And I'm thinking, we're going to do something magnificent. We're going to do something amazing. We're going to co-create a reality that is going to just put people in a place that will allow them to do the same. Why? Because it's a lot more fun when you have a party of people doing it, not just doing it by yourself.
Yes, that is amazing. That is, I'm gonna steal that one if you don't mind. I'm gonna borrow
please
that.
do. Oh, please do. Please do. Share. As I say, hit that share button and spread the message. Because if you think I'm the one that came up with it, you'd be dead wrong. This is a message. It's not me. It's not my intellectual property. I wasn't bright enough to come up with that on my own. I had to learn that.
That is absolutely amazing. We started this conversation talking about we're going to be talking to the root chakra and speaking to that and helping to heal that. And then you just mentioned our higher selves. I think that a lot of people don't understand how absolutely connected this concept is of healing your foundation, that root chakra, so that you can give permission to your higher self to actually lead the way. What are your thoughts on that? How important it is for us to really go back to that foundation and change that and heal it?
Right. So Dr. Lisa is referring to a conversation she and I had before we ever got on this call. And that was, we were talking about our spirituality and what we had learned. So not only am I trained as a shaman, by the way, I don't call myself that. I know I just did, but that label was gifted to me. I didn't know what I was doing. I had somebody else say that to me. But I also am what they call a heoka, which is a Dakota term for Native Americans, meaning a sacred clown. Again, that was gifted to me. I did not know what they were talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now that you know, kind of have that as a plug-in, what we're going to talk about is your heart chakra first. It is the only chakra in the body that is not connected to any other chakra, which is why they say, follow your passion, follow your bliss, follow your happiness. If you're not happy, there's only one person who can fix it. Guess what? You, not even the angels will. The angels hang out in the waiting room, filing their fingernails, waiting for your free will to ask them for help. Okay, so, but back to the heart chakra. Sorry, I got off on a tangent there. Help me down. Anyway, so the heart chakra. So that's the only one that's not connected. So what we were talking about, mindset, and you and I were talking about how we had to drop all of our emotional baggage so that we could stand in our empowerment. And by the way, I am not 24/7 on this. I have some really bad days where I feel like I will commit murder. I feel like that would really make me feel better. Like that would put me in a happy place if I could commit homicide to this individual who is so dense, right? You know, you have those moments. And I'm sure it's hormonal. I'm sure we could blame it on that, but really it's my own baggage, right? It's my own stuff. And so what do? I don't take the phone call. When I'm in that place, I am not in alignment with my divinity, and I know it. And who can fix that? Not a soul on this planet, but me. Right. The last thing you want to do is call up a girlfriend and start talking about how horrific this other person is, because guess what? You exacerbate that harmony. You exacerbate that disharmony. You are no longer in alignment with your divine. And so the best thing to do is go self-soothe yourself. Go figure out a way to get yourself feeling better. And so when we were talking about mindset and emotional baggage and all that, that's that crown chakra. It's the way you think. When it comes to the root chakra, that's directly connected to it. And isn't it fascinating that the way you think about money is the way money behaves to you? So do you, Susie Orman, God bless her. She's the one that's talking about, how do you treat money when you take care of it? Do you take care of it? Do you fold it out nicely? Or do you crumple up in your pocket and shove it in your first pocket and you just crumple it and leave it as a crumpled mess? She was the first one that started talking about how do you treat money? How you treat money is how it's going to come to you. All right. Now, you also don't want to worship it,
right?
But realize having enough money is a tool. You don't worship a hammer. You don't worship the spatula that you're using to flip your pancakes, whatever. But the thing is, realize it is a tool. And you're creating it as an evil tool rather than a positive tool when you think of it badly. So when it's predetermined destiny, right? I forget what they call it in human development, but if you tell somebody enough that they're stupid or they're lazy or whatever, they will manifest it. If you say to money enough, I have to work hard for you before I will allow you in my life. Not only that, I will work a minimum wage job. I'll work 3 minimum wage jobs just so that I can support my family, because that's what I have to do because of what I've been taught. And money's looking at you and going, all right, if that's what you really want to do, which you don't, but you don't know how that's what you've been taught. And so realize, in order to heal that, how are you going to treat money? And again, realize there's a little bit of momentum with this, and it's going to take some practice, but you can accomplish great things by focusing on money in a positive way. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about, keep listening to what Dr. Lisa tells you, because she will guide you through the morass of what's happening with you on that. So just a little FYI.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you. That's interesting. You bring up the heart chakra. We talk about that a lot as well, because that's the strongest electromagnetic field generator in your chakra and your physical body system. And if your heart is not aligned and you're not walking heart centered, the heart hasn't been healed. What you believe about yourself, beliefs aren't up here, they're here. And you will continue to emote that energy of I'm not enough, I got to work twice as hard, all those things, right? The world sees me as less than or what have you. I don't care what the world sees me as. What do I see me as? So it's the key to everything. To me, it's the key to abundance and walking in purpose.
So I just want to piggyback on that because it's so beautiful and so perfect. I want to piggyback, just realize what the world is showing you. Okay. So let's just take a moment, and you're in alignment with your heart purpose. Like you've meditated or you prayed, or you're in alignment, you're feeling good. And not only that, you're looking good because you've got that outfit on that makes you just swing those hips. And you're just like, I am the hottest stuff that has ever walk the planet. And look at me, baby cakes, because you've got to enter a few doors before you're allowed to touch this stuff, right? Yeah. I mean, it's like, I love those moments. Now realize when you're in your happy place and you're walking in that power and you are just so on fire, you're annoying. You are so annoying. Oh my God. Don't you know I'm in pain? I'm in pain. I had a hell of excuse me. I had a heck of a day. And you are sitting there walking around strutting your stuff like some freaking rooster. And what are you doing? And you turn around and go, oh, wow. And in my head, there are times I say, it sucks to be you right now. And I mean that with compassion. I know it comes off kind of flippant, but it really sucks to be you right now. But I'm sorry, there's nobody who can change that right now but you. And so the fact that you're annoyed at me lets me know you're not in my frequency. And I'm going to go tripsy on over to this other place where Dr. Lisa and I can go have a cup of tea and laugh and giggle and be girlfriends, not sit in your space with your moodiness. Now, this is a challenge for some of you because I know you have partners who seem to just not want to move or do anything. And they just want to sit in their depression and their negativity. And they're just a rock. They're a lump of rock. Mm-hmm. Don't try to change them. Stop it. It's not your job. Okay. Some of us have been taught that. I don't know about some of you wonderful women out there, or some of you wonderful men who were told you've got to keep your partner happy. You know, that's not your job. That's one of the biggest lies we're taught when we get ready to have our bonding ceremonies or our marriage ceremonies, whatever ritual you use. But we're taught that it's our responsibility to make the other person happy. And I've heard it told to men. I've heard it told to women. And my heart just goes, oh, that's a destination of failure. You're on a path of failure right now, because it's you as a person, an individual, to make yourself happy. And if you demand that anybody else is supposed to change their behavior to make you happy, you are in a world of suffering, as Buddha says. When Buddha says life is suffering, that's what he's talking about, that you have created a life of suffering because instead of empowering yourself, you're giving the power to the world to try to change. They have to change in order for you to be happy. And that will not be a place that lasts very long.
No. And that's not a place of abundance. That is a place of scarcity. Absolute scarcity.
Yeah, it's true.
The world will let you down. Like, you know, because you can't make everyone happy. As healers, a lot of those listening right now, you're healers in some form, empaths. The world will let you down if you continue to validate your existence or not be able to create your own happiness because someone else isn't happy. We can't heal everyone. It's not our responsibility. It's only to heal ourselves.
Well, I will speak to the empaths because I understand where you're coming from. I work with you guys all the time as a shaman. That's part of my job. And one of the things that I'd love to share with you is please realize what's triggering you. The reason why you want to make other people happy is because then you'll be happy. All right. Mm-hmm. It's totally self-serving. And I totally agree with it if it were possible. Now, like if you had a snowball's chance in Hades of actually making all of that happen for everybody, I would be like, go, go, go. And I'd have my pom-poms and I'd be cheering you on. However, I know that you're destined for failure with that one. And what is interesting is how we seem to partner as empaths. We seem to partner with people who subconsciously, I don't even think it's conscious, just thrive on being able to see how much they can bring you down because they see you struggling so hard to stay in that positive space. And they love the control of being able to say no to you, no matter how happy you are. Yes. And so that kind of dynamic can sometimes flare up in a relationship. And then people wonder why it's not working for them. Yes. I'm like, stop telling them, stop trying to cater to them. Stop trying to be contrary. Just be happy with the life you're living and tra-la-la. And you and the kids go play at the park and let him be a lump on the sofa and let him continue to be a lump. And then when he starts demanding that the world cater to him, then you can very kindly and gently say, that's not the way it works.
Yes.
What do you want? And I used to ask that. I had a wonderful man for 30 years. Wonderful man. And he fell into a place of darkness. And that darkness, I would look at him and go, what do you want? And he goes, well, I don't know, but it's your job to help me figure that out. And we had many conversations before we ended up having to go our separate directions. Now, he's still a great father to his kids. Hey, and he's a wonderful man. I don't want to say anything bad about that man, but he did fall into a pit of darkness and he expected everyone else but himself to do the work to pull him out. And that was because that's what that darkness does. That's what depression is. And so for those of you that maybe you are challenged by depression, I understand what it's like to live in a world of gray, but I also know the power that you have and how you're pulling the wool over your own eyes, thinking that you don't have the power to pull yourself out. You actually do. So definitely reach out. And for those of you who are feeling like life isn't worth living, please put the suicide hotline in your phone and talk to those people, because I can guarantee you that there are going to be people who will be devastated if you decide to leave this planet.
Yes.
So don't think I don't have compassion just because of the way I talk, just because I'm a little flippant. Sometimes I get up in people's face and I poke around just to see where the tender spots are, because my job as a clown is to mirror what you think is a weakness, because I see it as your strength.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. And I'm a firm believer that all of us empaths have those experiences. Sometimes I used to say it's a rite of passage, but I believe we have those experiences to show and illuminate to us the deep healing that we need, right? The areas of healing that we need to go to, and the areas of that darkness we need to go to, so that we can do that work ourselves, as they say, the shadow work. I know I had those experiences in my second marriage. I'm not trying to be Liz Taylor, so we're not going to do this very often. But anyway, the second marriage definitely showed me those areas. And I am so forever grateful for that, because I would not be the woman I am today had I not gone through that space with that gentleman then. So it is a healing, right? I do believe that that's part of the reason why we get into these situations. It's all a learning experience, and it's for our benefit at the end of it, I think.
No, I think you're right, because it definitely clarifies for you. If you're gonna buy into this BS, as I used to have people tell me stuff like, "I don't know what you've been smoking, Janine, but I don't understand what reality you're coming from," and blah blah. I don't. I don't do drugs. I find life just active enough and energetic enough. I don't need to do that. But I
Yeah.
was always accused of being such an idealist and rose-colored glasses that I started using it as part of my message of, "Oh, don't try to take my rose-colored glasses off my face. You
Yeah.
go get your own pair of glasses."
Yes.
I happen to like
Yes.
my world. Thank you very much. But one of the things that I think is important that you talked about is that as empaths, we're told a lot, we're shown a lot, we experience a lot. But the most important thing is, if you're going to buy into this BS of you create your own reality, just understand that some of those experiences that you fell into were helping you clarify what you don't want. So
Mm-hmm.
so instead of spending so much time on the phone or Zoom or whatever, communicating with girlfriends or whatever about how horrible the past was and it was so awful, and repeating, you're creating that frequency and vibration so that you keep cycling until you stop.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the reasons why I always focus on all the positive. And I'm told that that's unrealistic. That, oh my God, don't tell me you're a part of the happiness cult, Janine. I've actually been accused of being a toxic positivity type person. So
Oh.
these are some of the wonderful experiences that I have had where I'm like, toxic positivity, that is biologically impossible, I think. I'll leave it open. I'll leave it open. But positivity, we're so afraid of our
Yes.
power. We're so afraid we may just get everything we want and more, and then we'll be happy and there will be nothing to complain about. And then, oh my God, what are we going to talk to our friends about? Is that our problem? I wonder. I just throw that out there for you, Dr. Lisa. Love to hear your thoughts on that.
Boy. Uh yeah, so I didn't know there was a happiness cult. Would you please sign me up? I did not know that existed. Um Toxic positivity. I think in a way I've been kind of called that, and I didn't know those exact words. And a lot of times people will say to me, because I'll say, well, okay, yeah, you might be having these issues over here, but I'm not. What do you mean? That's going on all around you. I'm not having those problems. I'm not having the issue of my business isn't growing. I'm not having the issue of, you know, everything's going to, you can curse on here, I don't care, hell in a handbasket around
Right.
me. I'm not having that. I'm not having this, oh, in December and January, it should be this big dip and I'm not having that,
No.
because I choose to live in a positive light. I choose to be happy and joyful every day. Like you, do I get in my moods? Yes. I'm an Aries moon, and I will tell everybody twice for 2.5 days out of the month, please just know that may come out at any time. The explosion happens. But so I try to keep to myself for about 2.5 days out of every month too, so that I can work through these things. But if someone is telling you you're too positive for them, or they start pulling away from you because every time they call to then you're not responding to that, then that's probably somebody that you need to allow to go on and drift out of your life, because I do not have time for drama. I do not have time for continual just curmudgeonness. I don't have time for all of that. It is a pointless waste of my precious energy. Now, I'll try to help you be empowered out of it, but I have lost friends over the last few years because I refuse to just get down in those depths with them and live in that. So yeah, I guess I'll be toxically positive all the time then.
So I always like to play the scientist, and you are familiar with this.
Yes.
So if something is toxic, it means it's bad for you. And to
Yeah.
put the word positivity or positive on that lets me know that that person is letting me know that I am not good for them. I will oblige and step away.
Yes. Yes. I've done that. I've done that. I've been told that, and I've been like, oh, okay. Because it can't be. You cannot be toxic and positive at the same time.
And
That is
so
an
that just,
impossibility.
yeah, I basically share with them. I'll go, oh, so you're not in a very good mood today. No, I'm in a perfectly equitable mood. And I'll go, I will honor your request and I will talk to you at a different time. And I'll actually bow out. I'll close the Zoom meeting or what have you. So some tips for our wonderful empaths and healers out
Yes.
there who are finding themselves in this weird matrix of contrariness and contradictoriness.
Yeah.
If somebody is constantly contradicting you, they basically are letting you know that their reality is not yours. And so do you want to continue fighting for the right to express your reality or not? Now, if you're in a job, then are they paying you enough to be quiet? There was a period of time where I just kept my mouth shut and I was like, you guys are giving me $1,500 a day. Sure. I'll sit here and be quiet here at the conference room. You've paid my travel. You've paid for my hotel. You're hiring me as a consultant. You want me to just sit here in the boardroom and let you folks figure it out for yourselves and not use any of the gray matter between my ears? That's fine. And I did. And when I got done, I sent them a report of all the changes I thought they should make and what they could do and everything. And that was the first time I was allowed to really speak. Now, the 7th day of that contract, the head of the board turned to me and said, well, Jean, are you going to speak at all? And, we actually hired you. I mean, he was like indignant. And I turned to him and I said, I would love to speak if people around me can guarantee I will not be interrupted, because I refuse to be on the Jerry Springer show.
Oh,
I was told I was combative. I was told I was combative.
Oh,
and
sure.
why did I ever, that was the first thing I said. And yeah, that's a little pointed, but as you, my dear Aries friend, can understand, there are times where, I will not stand to be interrupted. Even my children will go, oh, sorry, Mom, didn't mean to interrupt you. Why? Because I had too many years of being interrupted. And I also have a thing where I work really hard not to interrupt others. Sometimes I get so excited, I blurt it out because I've fallen back into my 5-year-old self. And I do have those, and I will apologize. But your voice is too important to me. I want to hear your story. I want to hear what you're doing. So for our empaths, what is the technique? If people keep interrupting you and they won't let you get 2 words in edgewise and everything, stop fighting. Stop fighting. What you're doing is creating resistance. They will continue to interrupt you. Instead, focus on the spaces. And if you don't have any spaces, then guess what? You're not supposed to speak, not in the reality that they're operating in. And that's one of the things I found interesting as I moved into the Midwest, how people do speak slower. But if you notice, they give each other space to talk. And in other regions of the country, they do not. And it's actually seen as a weakness if you don't talk over people and show your power. Now, haven't we learned enough about bullies? Do we have to mimic that as well? I think the answer is no. And I know as most empaths, most of you don't either, but you're like, I really do have something important to say in this world. And people wonder why. I have written almost 12 books, 11 are published, and the 12th book's coming out this year. Why? Because writing was the only way that I could get my entire thought out and I wasn't interrupted. As a mother of 4 children, writing was the way I got it out. Now podcasting is available to us. And now we have audio files that we can ship back and forth to each other. So the thing is this, there are several ways to communicate. Don't think that in the heat of the moment in a meeting is the best time for you to communicate what you know. Maybe your message needs to be stated in writing. So people were like, oh my gosh, Janine, I can't believe you're doing that. I always offered to be the one to take the notes of the meeting. Guess what? The person who controls the notes of the meeting and sends them out is the one that is the truth speaker as far as everyone else is concerned.
Exactly.
and they were like, but you're a woman, you'll be labeled the secretary. And I'm like, I'll also know everything that happened at that meeting and I will put it down in the notes. I had my secretarial duties removed from me so many times in corporate America. Why? Because I put everything down that happened in the meeting. So you have power. You have power. Yes, no editing. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Dr. Lisa, you know it. So
awesome. So empaths, healers, finding our voice, getting our voice out there because we have a lot to say and it's very important and very I don't want to say cathartic. It is, and I don't want to keep using the word healing. It is revolutionary.
Right.
And we need to put it out there. It is empowering. It is motivating. Is it inspiring? And to help the collective. Can you talk a little bit about how you help empaths do that?
Okay. Well, I like to talk about money because it's such a core topic to so much with the mindset and everything. And one of the fascinating things is when you make the decision that you want to be financially stable, start off with financially stable, then move to financially free, then move to financially independent. Yeah. When I made that choice back when I was 27 years of age, I would never have thought my life would have taken the trajectory that it did. I lost a lot of friends. And every time I grew, I lost another segment of friends. So if you're in the process of losing a lot of friends, I know it's painful. There's a feeling of loss that is actually a lie. What that lie is you think you're losing something, but what you don't know is a friend that is even in more harmony and synchronicity with you is coming to fill that gap. But you would never have seen that friend if you hadn't had the feeling of the loss. So there's a vacancy in your space. And I remind myself of that every time I'm grieving because I've lost another group of friends because of my expansion. And Dr. Lisa, you mentioned revolutionary, and I encourage people, because revolutionary on this planet can sometimes mean negative things to people, realize what we are actually talking about is evolution. And so I don't like to twist, I don't like to play the word game with people of don't use this word, use that word. It's more just realize that in order to evolve, you do have to revolve, right? And you and I are scientists and we understand the forces that we're talking about. Sometimes society likes to take our words and make them meaningless. And so when Dr. Lisa says revolutionary, remember, you are spinning and you are evolving and you're raising that frequency. And so I just wanted to point that out in case somebody got triggered by the use of revolution.
Usually I say it's the revolutionary evolution. Usually I put those two words together. So thank you though for stating that. Sometimes, there you go, Aries moon, blip, here it is.
I have no room to talk, honey. I eat crow frequently and often. I can't throw any stones on that one, sweetheart.
Yes, that's not a problem at all. But yes, living in abundance, that is the being financially stable, then financially free, then financial flow or financial abundance is so critical to us because we still have to keep the lights on, right? We got mortgage and this and that. We've got to put food on the table. So flowing in that financial freedom and abundance is very important. And what you bring to the collective is so absolutely critical. Can you talk just a little bit about, because you've got a very, very special gift and offer for everyone that is under the sound of our voices or watching us right now?
So one of the things that's happening is I have a course that you can take that's totally free and it's very quick to go through. You can do it in about an hour. Is the short course, and it's called the 10 Steps to Abundance. And it's basically some of the stuff we talked about today. However, it's practical tips. It's like, do this, do this, do this. And there's no fluff pieces. There's no talking about other people's stories. It's very direct because that's my personality. It's like, I know, you just give me the meat. I don't want the milk. Give me the meat, right? And so that's what I do for you with that. So you go to the8gates.com, and I'm sure Dr. Lisa will have links for you, but go to the8gates.com. And as you try to leave the site, my pop-up will come up and say, hey, do you want to sign up for the 10 Steps to Abundance course? Do not worry. I do not pummel you with emails. Even when you sign up for my newsletter, which you have the opportunity of doing, even when you do that, I only send out once a week emails, and that's because I have so much content I'm generating. You are welcome to peruse it at your convenience, but that's about the results that you can have. And after the 10 Steps to Abundance, you're given an offering of being able to, it's coming out on February, my Ditch Your Debt While Banking Bucks book, and I am willing to ship it to your listeners for free. And they will have an opportunity to join me for my group coaching for $37 a month, where we meet twice a month and we talk for 30 minutes about the Mindful Money program. And basically it's just giving you access to me so that if you have a stumbling block or you have an issue, you can go ahead and chat with me in a group setting. And you can say, I have a friend, and we'll all believe you because we don't judge. I have a friend and I heard that she's having issues with her blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, okay, let's talk about your friend because we want to take care of your friend.
Yeah. Yes. Even if you've lost all of them because you decided to actually break free from the matrix and live abundantly. Anyway, we'll leave that alone. That sounds absolutely amazing. And we are going to have all of those links down below. I'm going to make sure, if you want to say your website one more time for those that are just listening, I don't want them to miss out on that either. One more time for us.
You betcha. It's the 8 Gates, and it's spelled THE, then the number 8, Gates, GATES.com. Just go there. You'll find all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Janine, I am so thrilled that we were able to connect and do this today. I am sure this is not the last time because there are a number of topics that I believe we need to get into.
Mm-hmm. It would be an honor.
Oh, this would be just amazing. And there's just so much here as women who are have come through a lot of the same experiences and now are on that other side of doing what I like to call giving permission to your purpose to provide for your person. And this is a wonderful journey to be on. And I thank you so much for being here. I just so thank you.
And thank you for reaching out to me at our little networking group so that you and I could connect, because that was one thing that's wonderful. But yeah, if you want me back, I would love to chat with your people and answer questions. And let's get folks where they need to be as opposed to where they are, especially if they're suffering. If you're suffering right now, let's get you out of that. You don't deserve to be there. I don't care how you got there. I don't care how it happened. I don't care if it was your fault, somebody else's. I don't care. Just let's get you out of there. You don't need to suffer. Let's have fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Guys, we are going to wrap this one up. We're going to put another one in the books, and we are going to have Janine back. Please do whatever links, notes, all that in the description boxes below, wherever you're watching or listening, you will have access to Janine, her website, and take her up on her incredible offer. Run over there and do that. Do not stop. All right, guys. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. Love you guys so much. Namaste. Bye-bye.